Hello and welcome to Latveria Library, where I go over all my favorite comic book stories, characters, and lore. Lately, I have been deep into Mike Mignola's Hellboy universe, going through all the side comics I can find, and absolutely loving all of it. So today, I figured it would be fun to go over some of the lore of the main antagonist. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you enjoy the content. And let's just get into the overarching villain of the Hellboy universe. Mike Mignola's universe is filled with all different types of unique creatures, pulling from folklore all over the world. Pretty much anything you can imagine, Hellboy has probably tangled with it, which of course has caused our hero to make many enemies over the years, like the Baba Yaga, Nazis, witches, and many more. Besides their hatred of Hellboy, there is one other thing that connects all of them, and that's the overarching villain of the Mignolaverse that goes by many names. The Dragon of Revelation, Heralds of Pestilence, the Beast, the Seven Who Are One, the Seven Gods of Chaos, but most refer to this being as Odrud Jahad, a seven-headed dragon imprisoned between worlds, destined to bring about Ragnarok, ending the reign of man and reshaping the earth for it, its 369 children, and its frog army, which is what humanity will become. As explained in the Island story arc, after the creation of Earth, greater spirits called Watchers or Angels were sent to oversee the newborn planet. One of these Watchers, Anam, boldly raised his hand, taking fire from the air, and with it, fashioned out of mud, the dragon Odrud Jahad. But unfortunately, the fire that was stolen did not bring their new creation to life like they had hoped. It wasn't until nightfall that the darkness entered into it, giving the creature life and purpose, birthing 369 children, or Odrudhim, which were the first living creatures on Earth. Fairly quick, the Watchers realized the mistake they had made. The mere sight of the Odrudhim filled them with horror, and so decided to rectify this by going to war with their newfound creation, raining down lightning until all that remained was Odrud Jahad. Anung, his own creator, then raised his hand once again and sealed his creation in a crystal-like prison, then flung Odrud Jahad into the heart of the abyss, the world between worlds. The Watchers had won, but unfortunately could not trust Anum any longer, so they struck him down, breaking him into pieces, then destroying all those pieces save for one, the right hand of Doom. The right hand grafted to Hellboy as an infant, and the only key to waking up the Odrud Jahad, bringing about Ragnarok, as well as the end of humanity. Though some like Rasputin, for example, believe the Hand of Doom isn't the end-all be-all, and in fact, there are other ways to release the monster. Now as for the rest of the Watchers, well, you can imagine God's rage at what they had done to Earth. They failed their task, and the majority of them were sent to what is now known as Hell, while a small handful were stranded on Earth to breed monsters. All of this was recorded on 3 golden tablets by lesser spirits who became the first humans. And of course, there is far more to this part of the story, but I'll save that for another video. For now, although the Odrud Jahad and its children had been imprisoned, the creature was extremely powerful and able to reach out to minds more sensitive to psychic energy, be they human, fairy, or demon. These chosen few, believing they were speaking to God, worshipped the creature as such, gathering followers and performing sacrificial rituals in the hopes of freeing Odrud Jahad from its prison. Although none have succeeded, a few have come pretty close, like Rasputin for example. After saved and given great power by the creature, he was manipulated into believing his sole purpose in life was to bring about the end of humankind, and so for years did the Odrud Jahad's bidding, including bringing Hellboy into our world in 1944, but it wouldn't be until 1994 that Rasputin, with one of the Odrudhim called Saduhim, would confront Hellboy and try to convince him to join their cause, or die. Which, you can imagine how that went. A battle between Rasputin, Hellboy, and a frogman ensue. The wizard with his frog henchmen seemed to be the strongest foes our hero had ever faced, being so powerful no charm nor artifact had any effect, which, according to Hellboy, the only time this has ever happened. The battle didn't last long, ending with Hellboy defeated, but even so, still refusing to give over his power to Rasputin. Unfortunately, this didn't matter, because Rasputin had kidnapped Elizabeth Sherman before the confrontation with Hellboy. The purpose for this was to channel Liz's power into him, combining his own with hers, then sending that power through Saduhim and into the Abyss, using it to break Odru Jahad's prison. This probably would have worked if it wasn't for Abe Sapien, possessed by the late owner of the Cavendish Manor. He spikes Rasputin through the chest with a harpoon. Although Abe and Hellboy stopped the wizard, he still managed to make a crack in the crystal, which left room for Nemu, the Queen of Blood, to continue what Rasputin started. Though she had not realized the extent of what she was about to unleash until it was too late, she then refused, causing the Odru Jahad to prematurely return by possessing Nemu, transforming her into one of the creature's 7 heads. But since this was premature, the creature was not at full strength, and only that one head, or dragon, was able to escape its prison. Hellboy confronts Nemu in single combat, ultimately killing her and wounding the dragon, something no other had ever done before then. However, the unfortunate thing was, this event had been prophesized as the beginning of the end, which I will not spoil in this video, even though it's a big part of the Odru Jahad history. Ultimately, this so-called god used Rasputin, Nemu, and others to break free of his prison, but other than that, we really don't know what the 7-headed dragon wants. Really, for a main villain, we don't know much about it at all, other than maybe what motives we could piece together from Rasputin or Nemu, but even then, they somewhat differ. What we do know is that they are psychically shown some kind of vision akin to burning the world to cinder in the fall of man. A Nazi named Hermann von Kemp believed after the destruction of humanity, the newly freed Odrudheim would in turn free Odru Jahad, taking Earth for their own, along with their new race of frog servants, saved for a promised few like von Kemp. Which is silly. The dragon has shown time and again that it sees humanity as less than ants, a mild annoyance at best, like any cosmic god from Lovecraftian lore. But I will say, his theory seems the most likely, just by looking at the actions of the few Odrudheim we see throughout the series. Though most are invisible, living between worlds, some were able to escape possessing bodies of various creatures and transforming them into their own image, like the Conqueror Worm in Saduhim. Once free, we see various groups and enemies of Hellboy working with these creatures, usually changing various individuals into frogmen or the third race of man. So I think it's safe to say they want the Earth for themselves, maybe the entire universe, which seems to be hinted at by a group of aliens that watch over the Odru Jahad's crystal prison. They believe Earth is a focal point, and if it falls, the entire universe falls. But little else is known of these beings. Hopefully we get more on them eventually. In conclusion, the 7-headed Dragon of Chaos, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated villains in comics. It's a creature that bores no hatred towards humanity, seeing us as nothing more than dust to be blown into the endless space. It ties back to almost every aspect of Mike Mignola's universe, always in the background, whispering, manipulating various players, all leading towards its goal of being released, bringing about the prophesized Ragnarok. Will Hellboy and the Hand of Doom play a big part in this, like it's foretold? Well, you will just have to read and find out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in the next.